Previously on Squad Sprint.
The 5 red lights are on and we are go for round number 3 of the championship. 5 or 6 cars all dueling down the Mistral straight. Who's going to have the guts on the brakes? It looks like Veloce James. Arava Primero, Eterno Veloce, Formula Danny in there as well. Danny forced out wide by Eterno Veloce. Can he outbrake him? Here goes Ben though on the inside of Storm. That was aggressive and he goes for a spin. Look at Sonj, he's having a look up the inside. He's surely going to go for it, and he does. Contact between them, contact between James and Photon as well. Incredible. And the run to the line, it's going to be Sonj winning the French Grand Prix. Brembo is second, Veloce Photon third. After a thrilling finish in France, it's time to head back to Asia for round number 4 of the Veloce Esports Squad Sprint. We're here amidst the stunning skyline of Singapore to take a blast around the Marina Bay. At 5 kilometres in length and with 23 turns, it is one of the longest laps of the entire season. The barriers are never far away either, and the drivers will need to maintain fully focused over the course of this 5-lap race if they want to come home the victor. Are you on the edge of your seat? Because I am. That's right, take a street track and add some heavy rain. You're guaranteed drama. So if you don't have any popcorn, go and grab some as we have a look at the starting grid for today's race. Alexander Dornier starts on pole in his debut, Niren starts alongside. Starting third, it's Joe Eterno Wilkes, Storm starts from P4. They're inseparable, that's right, Arava's 5th, Tom is in 6th, one to watch. Primero starts from P7, Jack Brembo McConnell is in 8th. The Russian race winner, Tiamat Marduk starts from 9th, Photon lines up in 10th. On row 6, it's Flying Finn in 11th, Veloce James is keeping him company in 12th. And on the back row, Formula Danny starts from 13th, Veloce Alonso, the championship leader, starts in P14. And remember folks, you can let us know who your driver of the day is by voting in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's get into today's action, riding on board with Veloce Dornier getting his first taste of squad sprint racing as the 5 red lights go out and round number 4 is go in Singapore. Good start Dornier but it looks like Niren has got the better getaway and he's going to get the jump into turn 1. So superb stuff from Niren, the FIFA player stealing a march on some of the drivers. So going through turns 2 and 3, look how tricky the conditions are, so damp, trying to get a feel for it. First time we've been in heavy conditions, look at that, running wide Niren. Running wide, Dornier could that allow some of the more experienced drivers on the game in? Here comes Tiamat Marduk. We know of his experience. He's already won in Russia. He's now on the inside at the end of the first sector. And Dornier runs off the track. Well, no sooner has he joined the series has he almost departed it. He's gone straight on at the runoff area. And Tiamat Marduk takes the lead, looking for a second win of the season. Veloce James on board with him. He's P2. He started this race down in 12th. What a getaway from the E-Rock champion, showing his quality there, as is Formula Danny, the runner-up in the F1 Esports Series, up to P3 from down in P13. Superb stuff from him as well, as he tries to cut the championship gap to Sonj, and we've got an accident. That's Brembo in the wall, presumably that's Primero rejoining from an incident with the Toro Rosso driver, as we stay on board with Tom, who's at a quiet start to the race, which makes a change. As we go on board with Arava, who's in the thick of the action once again. He's clipped the back of Storm, the Frenchman, and gets back on his way. No sign of him letting him go. As we go back to Ben in the lead of the race. Sounds like the race engineer is saying light rain at the end of the race. Stick with wets for now. So no sign of the rain abating just yet. As we stick with Veloce James, who, as you would expect as a pro driver, should have the pace on the content creator of Tiamat Marduk, as he gains and gains and gains onto the back of Ben. Now back on board with Formula Danny, rounding the final couple of corners, 23 turns. It is the longest on the calendar, this circuit, as we go on board with Ben and trying to discover how he had such a great start. Started P9 and went for the outside line, did Ben, and it's worked brilliantly for him. Look at that. If I remember correctly, Fernando Alonso tried that back in 2017. Didn't work out for him. He was wiped out by a flying Red Bull and Ferrari. So fortune favours the brave on this occasion. What about Primero's start? He was P7 on the grid. Had a little look up the inside. So he's trying the opposite to Ben. Oh, got into a bump with Storm. And there's Ben there on the outside, showing that that was the best way to go. making a mockery of them all. Look at that, climbing up through the field. As Primero, look at that, struggling to pick up the throttle. Now James, how did he get up to P2? Initially went inside, then tried the bend route, round the outside, and it seemed to just about work as he gets squeezed up against the wall here in Singapore. So a good start there for James, made a hatful of places at turn 4 as they all ran wide in sympathy. And there he went, alongside Primero, ahead of him, and then on past Niren as well. So a really good start to the race for Veloce James, giving himself a chance at a first win. He's been really consistent so far. He's been there or thereabouts at the front, and that's why he's high up in the order, as he puts a great move there on Joe down at turn 8. That's a fantastic move. Arava then bumping into the back of Sonch, trying it up the inside. Look at that rear end sliding there for Arava on the opening lap, really going for it wherever he can. And then I think Photons went up the inside of him and sent him into a spin and caused a full-on traffic jam down there. So a messy start for Arava as we go back on board with his teammate Primero, who's looking really hungry behind Niren, who, remember, led the opening lap as Primero slides towards the pit wall. Oh, goodness me, that was nearly a huge accident, as he now has a look up the inside of Niren and gets it done, forces his way alongside and takes P8 as we go back to the business end of the action. Veloce James versus Tiamat Marek versus Formula Danny, and Danny now is looking really menacing behind James. Is the esports driver for Mercedes going to have a look? He's going down the inside. James knows he's there. A lot of respect shown between the pair. No crazy driving here at the front end of the action. So, Danny tried once, failed. Can he do it the second time? Putting the pressure on James in the back end, sliding. He's putting the pressure on. James is crumbling, and Danny's there. He's going to pull alongside as they run down towards the Singapore sling. And look at the confidence on the brakes from Danny. So much later, and he takes P2. Next up on his radar, it's Tiamat Marek. Can he deny Ben a second win of the season and take his own second win? As we go back on board with Primero, chasing down Joe, and taking an interesting route through that corner, picking up a 2-second time penalty, deservedly, and making the move on Joe as we go back on board with Tom behind that, who's looking to pick up the pieces of this little scrap, and he's going to get a double dose of spray as well. He won't be able to see very much. Is he going to go down the inside of Joe? Joe brakes really late, nearly clips Primero, and Tom keeping a watchful eye. Not diving into moves today is Tom, hanging back in P9 at the moment, looking for a strong result. Let's hope he can get one, as he picks up a 2-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, unfortunately there. So a minor setback there for Tom, but a cracking battle. Primero 7th, Joe in 8th, and Tom in 9th. As we go back to back to Ben, battling with Formula Danny as they start lap 3 out of 5. Formula Danny showing his pace, setting a fastest lap. That's beaten immediately by Sally, who's trying to get himself into the action. Photon as well sets a new fastest lap. Formula Danny really close now to the back of Ben. Surely it's a matter of time before he takes the lead away from the YouTuber. Over 330,000 subs will be praying he can cling on, but I'm not too sure he can. He's up against it with Formula Danny on the attack. We are going back on board with Veloce James in P3. He's got a front row seat of the action. Somehow Danny's still not ahead, and Ben's clinging on brilliantly, the Aussie. Not quite a home race, this one, for the Aussies, but it's probably the next closest race after the Australian Grand Prix. So Ben clinging in there as we go back on board with Tom as he battles with Joe. He's going down the inside. Joe slightly closes the door. Tom muscles his way through. Argy-bargy stuff. Great racing there between the pair. And it's, still side by side. Banging wheels again. Like Dodgems out there on the racetrack. But Tom's got the upper hand. And he's through on Joe. Up into P8. He muscled his way through there forcefully, but he's ahead. As we go back to this huge Titanic scrap for the lead. Danny going late on the brakes again, just as he did to James. Ben holding on strong, doing a superb job to cling on for now. But surely Danny knows where to pass. It is a difficult circuit to make overtaking manoeuvres on, there's no doubt about that. But if anyone can do it, Danny can. As they go underneath the grandstand, fantastic how the track goes underneath a grandstand on this circuit. I think it's a beautiful addition to the circuit. Now they go underneath the motorway. Really lets you know you're on a street track, doesn't it? As we stay with Veloce James, who now has Sally for company right behind him. An esports race winner in front of James and one behind as well. As we go to Donia then, down in 13th. Remember, he started this race from pole. It's not going too well for him. And if you look at the right hand side of your screen there, Donia then goes way off into the wall. I was just going to point out, look at the name in German for front brake bias. How do you say that? That is incredible. Anyway, Formula Danny still chasing down Tiamat Marek, 3/10 behind him. Ben doing a great job of soaking up this pressure still. The longer Danny gets stuck here, the more that will allow Sally, the more it will allow James to come back at this group. So that'll be one to watch. That'll be in the back of Danny's mind. He'll want to get ahead of Ben as soon as he can and get this race wrapped up. 25 points in the bag as he tries to hunt down the championship leader, Veloce Alonso. Looks like he's got a good run this time. Ben's got the rear sliding as they go over the Anderson Bridge. Still Danny can't do it. Ben clinging on brilliantly. And now they go along this back straight and he moves it up into hot lap mode. Danny's got the run. Can he sweep round the outside? We know he's confident on the brakes, and there's the proof in the pudding. He goes round the outside of Ben, who continues to stay in the battle, tries to keep his foot in, but Danny, with the experience, with the talent, with the ability, moves up into the lead of the race, and surely now, with 1.5 laps to go, is on course to take his second win of the season. Oh, as I say that, he clips the wall there and nearly invited Ben back in, but surely that is that. As I say that, Veloce James and Sally have homed in on the leading pair. Can they do anything about Ben's second place? James needs to worry though. He's got Sally and Photon right behind him here, and they look really menacing, really hungry to take that third place away from the E-Rock champ. As we go back to Ben, who to be fair isn't being dropped by Danny too quickly. He's too far back by the looks of it to have any late charges up the inside. Lap 5 out of 5 and round 4 of the Veloce Esports squad sprint. It's been a cracking race up front. As we go back to Primero in P7, he's got Tom behind him in P8, who's had a quiet race by his standards. Made a lovely move on Joe earlier on. Can he get the move done on Primero now? As they go down Raffles Boulevard, the best overtaking opportunity on the racetrack. We'll go on board with Tom, 97 HD, trying to go round the outside of Primero. The Norwegian covers the line. Tom's going to cut back on the exit. Primero gets on the damp curb, and Tom sweeps round the outside. Can he complete it? No, he won't. And he gets squeezed into the wall. I've heard of a Scandinavian flick, but I've not heard of a Scandinavian squeeze. Well, there it is. Off into the wall goes Tom. Primero says no chance you're getting through there. On this final lap, back on board with Veloce James. I think Ben's too far up the road. I just don't think he's going to get there. So this could be a really solid 18 points for the YouTuber, who without doubt is performing the best out of all the content creators in this series so far. Danny on course to make it 2 wins from 4 races. And that is coming from 13th on the grid on a street track. What a performance. Surely eclipsing the efforts of Sonch. Surely a contender for driver of the day for you guys. Remember, you guys can vote for the track you want to be the final round of the season. Let us know in the comments. But for now, let's salute Formula Danny, who comes round the final corner. He wins here in Singapore. Let the fireworks commence. It's a great drive from Formula Danny to earn his second win of the squad sprint. Great drive there. Second for Ben, the best performing YouTuber at this current stage. And I think Sally might have got third ahead of James. I'm not too sure. It looked like on the timings Sally got third. We'll keep an eye on it. Well, let's have a look at the final race results from round 4 of the Veloce Esports squad sprint. Formula Danny returns to the top of the Drivers' Championship with 25 points, his second win of the season. Tiamat Marek, a first earlier on, a second here today, a good result for him, without doubt the best performing content creator. Veloce James did come home in third ahead of Flying Finn in 4th. Photon, the Hungarian, was 5th. Veloce Alonso brought the car home in 6th. Primero was in 7th. And there are the content creators. Tom in 8th. Eternal Joe Wilkes was 9th. And Arava came home in 10th. Let's have a look at the driver standings. Formula Danny, there he is, back on top ahead of Veloce Alonso, but only on race win. They're level on points. Veloce James is third in the standings with 52 points. Really consistent from him so far this season. Ben's victory and second place has him up in 4th place. Flying Finn is in 5th with 45 points. Photon is 6th, he has got 42 points. Jack Bremmel McConnell, a long gap back to him in 7th. He's 2 points ahead of Primero, who's in 8th. And then a 10-point gap back to Tom Martinez in P9, who's 6 points ahead of Arava, who sits in P10. Outside the top 10, Joe Eternal Wilkes is 11th. Storm is in 12th. FNG 13th. John Isa Harris and Alexander Donaden are still yet to score.
Next time, round 5, Germany.